Nice. So you were just talking about Nexa's skincare routine. What do you think it's multiple step, or do you think it's just like he's just using a bar of soap?
I think he strikes me as a one-stepper. I'm thinking obviously a clean off in the shower. That looks like an actual legitimate face cleaner, and then a moisturizer out of the shower after he's dried off. You know, just like a one
before
go
bed or before the day starts.
Well, you should do both. You should do one when the day begins. You should do one right before you go to sleep. His skin does look nice, so I'll give him the two-stopper. I'll give him a double dip.
Okay. Do you think he's using SPF in his daily moisturizing lotion?
I bet he's doing it without even realizing it, Chad.
Yeah. Well, I think that's how it comes these days, right? It's pretty much part of the package.
You have to search for the non-SPF ones, which you should use for broadcasts.
Oh.
Because SPF makes you shinier.
Isn't the SPF thing that prevents you from getting red?
Yeah, that's to do with the sun.
Sun care.
Yeah. Sun protection factor.
But, you know, when we're on broadcast, we're sitting in a dark fucking studio anyways. So, you know, we're not going to see the sun.
Yeah, but it's just for more just, day-to-day use, Jason. I think that's really what they're hoping to be able to cover with... look, we're not experts on skincare routine, but I'm trying to think. I don't even, at the moment, because of how much time I am outside and I swimming in the ocean literally every day, I'm not doing shit. I'm just having a shower and washing the salt off my face, and my skin is amazing. I'm also eating the best I've ever eaten, so maybe that's a factor too. But, Now,
are these things that are going to keep up when you get back home to Malta?
It's going to be cold, so I could go jump in the Mediterranean Sea. It will be
polar bear
frigid.
Action.
Yeah, but I could do it. And I'm going for swims at any time that I can out here. And it's beautiful. It's great to get out there. But some days it's not super nice. Like it's a bit windy. It's a bit choppy. Maybe the waves are getting a little bit gnarly. But it's a little win. You go out there. You say, yeah. Let's fucking get in the drink, mate. And then you get out there in the water and it's great, and you have a good time, and then you're not struggling with the day. It's recharging, right? I feel like the ocean. I feel like I need to get one of those like Hawaiian type necklaces with the shells on it, and maybe start praying to the guy from that movie Aquaman. What's his name? Someone Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, he's a pretty handsome devil. Maybe he could be my new god. But I don't know how we got here. Janko, how are you doing? Can you save me?
I'm awesome. I use one sort of shampoo or soap for my body, for my clothes, for my car. So that's my kind of skincare routine.
Okay. I think it's called the 8-in-1.
My girlfriend jokes about, same for the towel, like one for the beach and for the bathroom and all of that shit.
You don't have a separate beach towel?
I was going through, no, I'm trolling, but I was reading through Maui's AMA, and then I saw like he had a fucking thing for this skincare routine and products and shit. And I know a couple of our colleagues also have that. Like, I don't have any of that shit. That's probably why my skin feels like sand, and maybe I should start.
I just have a facial moisturizer. Lotion. That's it. You just got to throw it on. Just whack it on right before you go out the door.
I have one like sort of cream I put on before I go to bed. Like,
sure.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's like, so it sort of smells nice and it's a bit refreshing. And that's it. And that's me contributing to aging nicely.
Normally I would once upon a time, I would just jump into bed. I would just jump into bed and I'd go to sleep. I wouldn't do shit. But now that I have to put this fucking topical minoxidil and finasteride in my hair every night before I go to bed, I'm like, well, I may as well do all the other shit while I'm here anyway.
You know what I don't never really understood? Like, I never used to do this. Is like, how like people use shit to jerk off?
Like lube?
I never used to do that shit. Yeah. That was always like so weird to me. That always grossed me out. It's like, it's so messy.
Well, it does seem unnecessary. Yeah. I don't know. It's a different feeling. Like you're giving yourself a different sensation, and I think that it can be okay. It really depends on if you're making an occasion. Well, I don't know.
You just got to give it a chance, Janko. You just got to, one day when you're feeling a little excited, just
I do appreciate the sloppy one though. So
yeah, like
that's the goal.
If you're going to use like a fleshlight or something, Janko, then you definitely need to be using lubrication.
A flashlight?
No, a fleshlight. You
What's that?
definitely. No, you're fucking joking me, right? You don't. You know. You
He's
must.
trolling that one for sure.
He has to.
I think I know. I think I saw it when I was scrolling through some porn back, like when I used to watch porn. I do that anymore.
I'll link it. I'll link you on here so you can take a little bit. It's quite confronting when you see it, like the lips staring directly at you, and you just.
It is a bit intense.
Yeah, like there's a lot going on with it, and like you know, for someone who's
lovehoney.com.
Yeah, well, I think this is an Australian.
Well, don't give him
Holy
free
shit.
advertisement.
The fuck? This looks like it's gonna fucking
suck your soul out.
The biggest issue with these type of products, though, is the aftercare, right? The rigorous cleaning that's required, you know, to keep.
You got to be on top of your game. You got to be responsible.
And that's too much for me. I don't think I can really.
It's too expensive to just swap them around.
I think it's too much for anyone who's in the market to buy a fleshlight.
I think in Japan though, you can just buy like cans out of vending machines. I did hear a story about that.
Does that even fucking count anymore? Like if you start your sentence, well, in Japan, you know it's just some weird shit that's gonna come after it. Like
I appreciate the culture over there.
It doesn't account really for how the rest of the world works. Like for Christ's sake, they have toilets that like clean your ass on its own, and I don't know what else they do to you. I don't want to even get into that.
I feel we need more of that, don't you?
That wasn't like a call for you, Chad, to explain.
I'm redoing my master bathroom. I'm going to be looking into the Asian toilet market for sure. I want some transformer toilet in my life,
or get a golden toilet.
That might be a bit much. I'm not made of money.
But then it's a bit more like a throne. Wait, you're going to redo your bathroom, Jason?
Yeah.
Are we thinking? Are we doing the full tiles? Like what? Are we changing?
Yeah, everything.
Are you going to heat the floor?
Probably not the floor. No,
you don't want to do the under tile heating.
Chad, that stuff gets expensive.
Yeah, well, now that Jane's heard this, Jane's definitely going to want some under tile heating, and you're going to have the heating on the towel racks as well, so they're nice and warm when you get them off. Come on, Jason. Do it properly.
Maybe the toilet seat as well, but I'm assuming that comes built-in feature with the Japanese brand of toilets.
I think that's where you're really going to have to be spending some money. Like I think we're talking at least $5,000 for one of those. Let's see. Let's have a look. Japanese toilet price.
I guarantee you they're like $10,000.
Redoing your toilet is expensive, but probably not as expensive as it's going to be for ENCE to redo their Counter-Strike team.
Well, they've gone down the dunny, haven't they?
Wait. Before we go into this, tell me honest, like, does anyone understand this fucking move at all?
Well, if it's happening, what do you mean?
Like, I don't understand. Like, why would you want to do it if you're the ENCE trio? Like, you're just like, we're going to be the core. That's it. We're going to be the core of one team. We're going to go to another team who also doesn't have an in-game leader, who also doesn't have a fifth player. So we're going to need to find a fifth player who's also an in-game leader.
The rumor is Kixin as the in-game leader, and then they keep Shush. That's what your Kinder said last. Wow, I've done 2 podcasts in 24 hours. But that's what the go
like
is.
That can't be like what is the great improvement there? They're like, why wouldn't you just?
Well, Janko said money.
I mean, that's the only X factor I can think of is if the paycheck is significantly more. But otherwise, you're in the same. It's like a lateral move.
Yeah, but if it's like, I mean, if it's an X amount of thousands of euros a month more.
Okay, yeah, but like take the money out of it. I don't care about the money. Take the money out of it.
Well, they care about
what
the money.
Take the money out of it.
Job.
Like,
I know, but what is like the motivation to go to heroic? Is it just the money? Is there something within the like? Are we really just distilling it down to that? Because I don't understand.
What if they don't like the glaive move, right? Like we don't know that. Maybe they don't. Like I'm just pure speculation right now. Maybe they don't like the glaive move. Maybe
I thought about that too. Like maybe they found out like glaive is like a cannibal or something when they got there, and they're like, we got to get the fuck out of here or something. Like that's I don't like this move doesn't make any sense to me. It's the same team moving to a new team and moving into the same problems, and all there is literally maybe glaive pissed him off in week 1, and maybe they're getting paid twice as much money.
I don't think this is something that can happen like within a. Like that can happen. So, this guy sucks. Let's see our options. We can go to this team. I think this has to be Heroic's long-term sort of like Heroic is the one who initiated this and went to ENCE and poked around and to see if like these guys want to move and what the roster would look like. Like they get to play with Saw. And sure, glaive is obviously more, 100 times more experienced and accomplished than Kixan. But, in recent time, Kixan has been doing a good job. And then it's like Shush for Diha, really, which, I mean, at this point, I'll take that because
he's been on the struggle bus a little bit recently.
Just in general, in big games, he tends to fall off a cliff. So, yeah, I'm like, sure, it's not a big it's not like a monumental difference. And if it's not a monumental difference, then the things that like make the difference are the coach and more money, which is fine.
Yeah, like I don't think if they're going to get paid significantly more money, or even just a decent chunk of change more, right? And it's essentially
but let's say if it's let's say if it's 5,000 euros more.
That's a lot of
player.
money across the course of a year.
Right?
Are you talking about like a month?
That's 60K a
That's
year,
like
right?
50, 60K, yeah.
Yeah.
It's times 12, Jason, 60K. It's not that hard.
Janko's good at maths.
All right.
But he did just get out of bed.
Wow, he really just wanted to flex there, didn't he?
No,
just can't have
but
nice things.
I mean, like, if it's like that, it's like, you know, why not make the move? I think that we shouldn't be asking why make the change. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
there you go.
Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, again, it's just the same exact
Why
team.
not?
Oh, I mean, first of all, we're just speculating that okay, it has to be. We just threw out the 5K number, but without knowing the salary, without knowing how much more
What
money
if
they'd
it's
be getting in
3K?
order. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. Why wouldn't you stay with ENCE?
I don't know. Look, what? Well, okay. Heroic have a partner.
It's not like- it's not like
willing to sell. It's
Pro
not like
League.
you're forcing ENCE's hand. Like, let's say ENCE is
Yeah, I
getting
know,
like
I know.
a good amount of money for it, and they're willing to sell. You know, like it's an amount for which it's worth it for them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a win-win across the board, right? Like,
I'm trying to think of this in the sense of like, yeah, I understand the money angle. The money angle makes things very easy for all parties involved. I'm trying to think of it as like, what is like the benefit of going to this new organization? You're rebuilding a team around the same exact core, whether it's in a Heroic jersey or an ENCE jersey. You have an in-game leader in Glaive that's there already. Like, you're still going to encounter the same problems you're encountering now in ENCE. So for me, I'm like looking at it from that perspective and being like, there's no like tangible positive right out of the gate of going to Heroic.
But okay, so for next year, you would have a Blast spot and you would have a Pro League spot with Heroic, whereas with ENCE, you only have the Pro League spot, right? And I know that only lasts for next year because when we move into 2025, we don't have...
None of it matters anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe in the short term, they feel like that's a better move for them. But I think, you know, I feel like it has to be motivated by either the in-game leader factor, right? But with what Janko just said, obviously Glaive is someone of a lot more experience, tenure, someone who should be looked up to a little bit more than a Kixen. But maybe they want someone who's going to call a faster.
Maybe they really like Saw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's another big draw, right? When you think about these players we're talking about, so we're talking about Madden, Sampaius, and Nerds. So for Nerds and Sampaius, this is the team that they've done and Madden as well. This is the team that they've done the absolute most with, right? And they found the highest level of their success alongside of Saw as the coach. So maybe they have an awful lot of faith in him as that individual who's going to bring them to that next that level again, right? And I think if you're plugging in. And maybe that says a lot about what Saw did bring to the duo alongside of Snappi, right? And then if you're bringing in Shush, I agree with the sentiment that I think he's a very good player, right? I think he's great at what he does. And then if Kixen comes in and they're able to mold him and get him to call, or they like the way he calls right now, then sure. But I see what you're saying. It's like, well, you're kind of just taking a step to the right, and you're going to continue on the same path, but maybe you got a nice pair of shoes on. Right, like I kind of see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, this is these guys' careers, and maybe they can make some more money.
It's like the same pair of
no,
shoes.
I think it's like, listen, for the sake of argument, right? Let's just say the money is the same, everything's the same. So you're just the difference between the two lineups, right? The one with Kuben, Glaive, and Dicha, or the one with Saw, Shush, and Kixen. I think at this point, it's one of those situations where, unfortunately, without knowing the inner workings of the team, right? It's the same thing like with the JKS thing. It's like, doesn't really make too much sense to us from the outside, but in the inner workings of the team, if it was something that, you know, some details that we can't really see on the server maybe, or don't know about, and that's why they decided to pull the trigger. That might be the case, you know, in this one as well. Maybe it's something with Dicha and some of the games. Maybe it's even early on seeing like Glaive's approach that they're disliking. Maybe it's not that. Maybe they just really, really like their coach, who now went to the other org, and have some, you know, no Kixen or something along those lines, right? It has to be some details and some small things, because, yeah, I get your point, Jason, in a sense that, you know, it's not a night and day difference between the two rosters, so you're like, what's the point of all this? But
yeah,
I think the way you need to look at it is, well, if that was the actual case, then this wouldn't be happening.
Do you think?
I just hope maybe Natsu's going to
still might not happen.
He's going to get another Sauna out of this exchange. That's all I want for Natsu.
the problem is when I look at it from the ENCE perspective, they're going to have to
hoping a little bit more than that, but
they're going to have to rebuild like from the ground up. That's the negative I see for the ENCE perspective as an organization, and that's an org that like supports Counter-Strike, right? They're not just one of these like multi-game orgs that are trying to do everything under the sun to try and keep themselves relevant and make profit that way. Like they're clearly invested in Counter-Strike. So from that perspective, and with what they've been able to build, I think it sucks. But then at the end of the day, I look at this and I think players have relatively short careers. If these guys can go out there and make a little bit more money with what they want to do, and they think it's a better option competitively, then all the power to them, right? So I can understand it from that perspective as well. But I'm more curious about this Saw move to Heroic. Was that already the case? Like when he left the team, was he already going to Heroic? So how long have Heroic been considering going in this direction of international? Has this been the case ever since the Stown, Yabby, Cadian scenario all kind of imploded and they've just thought, well, fuck it, Danish Counter-Strike, we've had enough of this?
Yeah, I don't think you're building like an international plan when you have that older roster, right? Because you probably felt like that was pretty stable and going to be around for a little bit. But certainly when it explodes, that's where I think you have to look. I mean, every team has to look international now.
Actually, I say that Exist was Swedish anyway. It wasn't even like he was a Dane. So it Saw,
Scandinavian though.
Yeah, but Saw could have gotten away with the same kind of thing, right? Being a Finn. Is that Scandinavian or is that Nordic? I always confuse these. I don't know like what the difference is. What's the difference between Nordic. Scandinavia and Nordic?
Scandinavia is the peninsula.
Okay, so that would be
Nordic.
As the Nordic.
Nordic is like, I feel like, I think
Scandinavia is commonly used for Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Nordic countries is vaguely used for Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland.
Iceland, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, there you go.
Also including the territories of Greenland and the Faroe Islands.
Oh, highly contested, the Faroe Islands, I've heard.
Can't forget about the Faroe Islands.
Huge.
So look, the Saw thing is what I want to get to the bottom of that. Someone message him and ask, Saw, were you always going here? And he's going to tell us candidly, of course, because everybody knows that honesty is the best policy, as we all know. Right?
I wonder if he was like, going to be like the next like I guess like roster change for Heroic would switch him in for Exist and like pre-lineup exploding, and then something extra like spicy happened on top to cause the Cadian and Stown split and all that jazz.
Here's the weird thing. It's like, if this was was this the plan all along?
What, to try and get the core events?
Yes, with the coach. And if so, why didn't all that happen at kind of the same time? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't he stick around
Falcons
for an extra?
You think this is like the plan that Cadian had in terms of the changes he wanted? Would like bring Saw in, bring a couple players in that he kind of spoke about in the interview?
Ooh, I don't think so. That would be wild though, if that was the case. I think he probably would have just kept it Danish and changed like some pieces around.
Well, they've been pretty successful with the type of changes that they've made previously, right? That we've seen.
Yeah, I think. Didn't he say something like in the interview, like he referenced the refresh change, the Yabi, right? Like when they gained a little bit more, yeah.
It was the Burrup change as well that they did, remember? Like that. It's not that they were in a bad position then, but they made was it Burrup and NiKo they got rid of? And that's when they brought in, who would it have been at the time that they had brought in for that? Was that...
Oh, you're going to the way back time machine now.
And Shush? Yeah, it could have been something along those lines. But yeah, that is quite a long time ago now when I think about it.
Refresh and someone Shush.
Yeah, but it is interesting because like it's hard to know, and it's hard to even know where this stuff really even started, because there's been a lot of moving and shaking going on all across the board, and a lot of moves that never manifested that were spoken about, and that's one of the things. It's like, what caused what, and then it did that thing, that conversation, did that idea that never manifested. Did that cause like this chain reaction of impact and the main thing that was meant to happen never happened? Because that's that would be so wild if and I'm sure they did happen in a lot of these occasions actually.
I think you look at Heroic, right? So their roster fell apart. Okay, you got probably some money out of it, sure, but what do you do now? So you want to build a contender team, right? You still want to remain a contender.
It's almost like stealing a contender team, isn't it?
Exactly, right? So how do you do it? Well, you look at if you can buy out some team. Can you form a team with 5 different individuals? That's really hard, like to buy out individual players. Maybe there's a couple of free agents, like to build something that way. That feels pretty difficult to build a contender team. But if you bring over a core of a contender team, and get a good coach and find, you keep one of your guys who is capable. I feel like Shusha is capable to play at that level, and then just find one more piece from the outside. I feel like that's a lot more feasible. And luckily for them, ENCE is one of those orgs that doesn't just burn money, that runs a sound organization, and then they need to look at just sort of pros and cons, right? Like, of course, they don't want to lose the core of their team that's been one of the best teams in the world for a long time. But you also look at, okay, maybe they have something. That's the next point. Is like, what does ENCE do now?
Well, ENCE are fucked, right? ENCE will be fucked.
I was gonna say, like, this is I don't even see like a way back. Like if they can handle this one and get a team like back in like the top 20 within 2024. Also, think of the timing of this too. This is like the worst time starting out in CS2, I feel like, for this to happen. Right at the start of the major cycle, right at the start of like CS2, and all of a sudden your team is just gutted. Like the 2-star players you picked up out of Israel and Nurts, out of Spain and Sampayas, like they're gone. Your coach is gone. Your in-game leader's gone. Like it's just it's dead in the water almost.
We're a little bit all over the place, but I have another question for you guys. So, right, the major is around the corner. So obviously, ENCE would have a slot in the closed qualifier or
not if they lose their core though.
Yeah, exactly. So, in that sense, like, actually, never mind. I was gonna say they lose a slot at the major, but they don't. They only lose potentially a slot at the RMR and have to go through qualifiers. I was going to be like, so do they charge Heroic extra for it, or is there a clause where Heroic needs to pay them like 10% of the sticker money or something like that?
I have
because
no
it really hurts ENCE's chances of making the major, right? And we know how much money there is in stickers, and that would be, that's a huge hit to take.
And I guarantee you the orgs are all thinking along the lines of like how valuable stickers are going to be for the first CS2 major. Like that's going to be a big payday. That's a payday you don't want to miss.
The last one was, I think, one of the biggest, if not the biggest payday, right? So I'd be surprised if we live up to that standard again. But knowing that the major is so much, the second major of the year is so much later, maybe they let the stickers linger again for like the majority of the year. Because you think about how long the Paris stickers lingered for. They just kept fucking going. Like they just kept going and going and going. Maybe they do the same thing with the second major of the year being up in December. But I do think that comes into the conversation, Janko, right? Like if you're a team, especially like a gatekeeper team, like from a smaller region, let's look at Grayhound, your players would be worth a premium because you know that all you have to do, and I say all you have to do, it's still quite difficult considering the limited amount of spots. But if you're a team who continues to get through, grab that major spot, one of the two over there for the Asian side of things, and then you get yourself that sticker money every time. That's how you're generating enough revenue to be able to keep the business running and pay your players and keep that going, right? So if somebody comes in and wants to buy those players, you're not gonna sell them, or they're not going to be cheap, right? You're going to make sure that you're getting some big value out of that. So I imagine that exists all across the board. And then especially for a team like ENCE who aren't functioning with like VC money coming out of their ass, right? They're a team who are trying to function a bit more within the confines of what's realistic. So they can't even just like burn money to try and build a team to put themselves back in that position. And we know that the buyouts for a lot of these players, especially top players, that if you want to try and assemble something quite quickly, that's not going to come cheap. So you find yourself in a scenario where, because you think about the players that they've gotten over time, they've invested in smaller names that have now become household names, right? Like Nurts is a player that we get super excited about. Sampayas has had his period. He's been a little bit more quiet in recent times, but he's still a hot prospect. So that's the thing with ENCE. They built, the ground up might be, adding a little bit of extra sugar to it to make it seem a little bit cooler than it is. But realistically, ENCE weren't a contending team. That these players weren't names that we're thinking, oh yeah, these guys are a top 3 team in the world, or these guys are going up against Faze for trophies. They turn themselves into that. And that's going to be the hard part. To get yourself back to that is going to be fucked. And now that they've signed Glaive, they've kind of written that as their way forward. So you need to be able to do that with Glaive and then whoever else you can even bring into the team.
Well, and also for like a lineup that's like was written as kind of like the chance for like Glaive to show he's still got it. Now to have to be like, oh, instead of having this established lineup, you've got to do it by building from the ground up. Like that's a crazy ask all of a sudden for Glaive.
Do you think that alleviates pressure for him though?
That's a completely different like situation that he has on his hands now.
Yeah.
And also
it might actually, I know what you mean, Chad. I think you might be right there.
You also wonder if it's right, like whether he would have came to ENCE knowing this would happen.
Yeah, you know, do you think he's blindsided by it?
I think so.
I can't imagine.
I don't think he's willing to like. I think even in his interview, right, he's saying like, I want to show that I can take a team, you know, to the top, like a contender team and whatnot. I think it was something along those lines where now you have no idea what your roster is going to look like. Although I don't think we should just make it so that like ENCE is now going to pick up like 3 academy players, you know, and just look to, I don't know what, qualify for tournaments, right? Like I think they have a lot of ammo to try and build another good team.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who they target. I mean, if they can show once again that they can stick around in the top 20 after like getting gutted, you know, previously it was just star players. Now it's the core. Like that'd be super impressive. But I can't even begin to imagine.
But where do you begin?
I'm telling you, man. Like let's say you grab a couple of players, maybe
Shiro.
You get shit. There's an option, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't think. I think Shiro's linked. I think Shiro's linked to a Russian team. I think from.
I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Spirit, but yeah, I don't know if they can pay him that, or maybe at this point he just wants to play. But you try to get Isaac from Gamer Legion, maybe Regali from OG. I think he can be good.
Fuck, but I still feel like these are like. I don't want to say not proven, but are they enough? I guess that's the thing. You have to be able to take a bit of a punt and hope that you can turn them into something, right? That's half of the game.
You know, people didn't really know about Nerds at all. We saw him
Endpoint
in that pro league, and you know, it did seem like he was really good, but you can't know that for sure. That's
not good enough to take a big risk on, you know. but they did it.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do it. I mean.
Yeah.
If you're looking for established players, that's all hard. I would have said Knock, but he just re-signed.
Yes.
With Apex, you know.
What did Apex do though? If Kixon goes to this heroic
team? They just had Vladan as stand-in for the event in China. He sort of played his way into it. Maybe they give him a chance, you know, get him on trial for like 3 months. See if when he's actually playing like with the team can give you something, you know.
All of these, I don't want to say. I'm gonna say it. All these feel like shit options considering where they were at. Like no matter what happens, it's fucked. But that's the thing; it's going to be fucked regardless. It's just like, man,
yeah.
It doesn't feel nice at all. I want to
shout out to our boy Natsu.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, right? I keep just returning to like this is the business and stuff, but it I don't know It's one of these things where there was other players from this roster linked to potentially going over towards Falcons, right? Like there was conversations with the Sampire side of things. I assume that's where snappi has to be going, right? snappi has to be fucking going to Falcons now. So that has to be a lock. So snappi and Magis with
imagine if he just went to heroic.
That's what I was gonna say. Like if it's not signed, like what if he just does a fucking U-turn and just goes to heroic and
he's back with
Saul? I feel like it has to be signed.
Well, it's been so quiet out of him. When was the last time snappi?
Yeah, wouldn't it be announced by now if it was? He left the team like a couple weeks, like what, a week or two ago? 2 weeks?
snappi hasn't said anything in a while. He just tweeted when Glaive joined, and best of luck, mate. That was on November 27th. So, and that was a day after he departed, right? So, yeah, I guess at this point we're really starting to get a move on here. But then you think about it, what are Falcons even going to play in? They just have to try and qualify for the major.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would imagine they'd be part of some ESL events next year. Like, actually, I don't even know if they can just kind of sneak in like that. I don't even know.
Well, Liquid apparently can't even get them not get themselves into it. Apparently, last night when I was talking to the Liquid boys, they might not even like qualify for Katowice because of the points from Cadian and Twistzz. Apparently, they don't count or something. I didn't get the full story. I should have.
Isn't ESL World ranking through player points?
Well, this is the thing. This is why he was saying that their points didn't count. Like, obviously, we spoke about it in passing. We didn't go, oh, let's investigate this and look at it in detail right now. But basically, from what Casper was saying, it doesn't seem like they're even going to be able to qualify for Katowice. So that's a
they can't even get in the play-in.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's no qualification event for North America for them to be able to play in because of so.
Fuck
yeah,
off.
look, we probably should, talk to someone who actually knows what the fuck's going on here. Maybe I'll reach out to Slavinsky or something and ask the question to try and get a little bit better understanding of this. But that's from my understanding, right? That they're not going to be there. So I'm looking at it right now. The play-ins is what? So we have ESL ranking EU for a bunch of spots. We've only got one for NA. We've got one for South America, one for Asia, one for Oceania. Then the ESL rankings make up 8 more spots. So yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be really interesting to see. And I guess they would be looking at this, right? Like Steve and co over there would actually be looking at this and seeing where they're 25th in the ESL World Rankings at the moment, which would probably put them outside of the positions that we were just discussing. So yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But again, I want to do a little bit more research. They're not going to play any events, Jason.
If ENCE implodes and there all of a sudden as a team drops out of the Katowice area, then there's one spot that opens up. Let's see where it slides on to next.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so you want the demise of teams who are above them in the world rankings to potentially
now I'm in. Get ENCE out of there. Get
okay.
Liquid in that game.
All right, Jason. He was saying sorry now too, and now he's saying get the fuck out now too. It's been nice knowing you. Thanks for playing. No, but that's a shame because there's excitement around Liquid. It'd be cool to watch them play sooner rather than later.
Well, they get no points from skulls.
Yeah, it's also interesting to think that they I mean, I guess it shouldn't matter, but they count as like an America's team with this amalgamation of people coming in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the ploy, right? That's why I think they were getting a Brazilian in the mix.
Yeah, for the major, but for events as well, it's I don't know. It seems like silly if there's no path for them to be able to qualify. It seems silly at this point in the year to not have an ability to qualify for Katowice.
Do you think ESL events will be able to function like this come 2025? Like in the sense that, so I assume they're going to have to use the Valve World Rankings too. Okay, so then you won't be able to have these different avenues, and you don't win this event, and it qualifies you for that, right? So if all of those things change, all this time and effort that these tournament organizers are putting into building this is just gone.
I don't think it'll be that bad. I think they'll have to find some kind of a balancing act between having a number of teams that can qualify through events and a number of teams that qualify through the rankings or an open. There's got to be a ratio, right? Because otherwise, if you're Valve, you're coming in and you're almost demolishing a business that's been built over the past decade.
Yeah, but I don't think they care about that, right? That doesn't strike me as sign of the Valve value.
I think it will to an extent. I mean, because I would imagine the argument being made in these meetings by the TOs, by people from Blast and ESL is our business is these circuits. Our business to get people to these events is to offer them something for the future bigger events. We have to be able to qualify teams through our events because that is the whole point of us having a circuit and a quote unquote a season of events throughout the year.
I hate that because that's when you get these fucking TOs who start listing, they're doing, stats from our events only, and we're talking about a group stage that happened fucking 3 months ago and shit.
Come on, Chad, that hasn't happened in years though.
Dude, what do you mean? I saw it happen the other day.
Where?
I don't know. I might be making it up. I'm a little bit tired, Jason. I just felt like I did. I
think sometimes TOs have done that on their graphics, and we've usually ignored.
We push back immediately. Well, I'm not fucking saying that.
Yeah,
I want to know what the last 3 months on LAN are. That's it. I don't want any of this fucking bullshit.
And I think TOs have gotten that message too, because the fans hate it as well. So when TOs have done that historically, it's been caught and called out by fans. It's just this is stupid. Why are we trying to just distill this down to your 3 events that took place 4 months ago that don't?
It's not relevant to current Counter-Strike. That's the biggest issue. Things have to be relevant to the landscape, right? That's one of the biggest keys. When you're doing something that is esports / sporting / a competition, what is relevant in the now is the only thing the viewer cares about, right? We know that when we try and talk about different types of content we can push and this stuff, people rarely, unless it's a massive historic match, you're not going to find too much interest in old games, right? They do the reruns. Those things don't get too many views. You care about what's happening right now, like the Mouse vs G2 game that I'm sure the 3 of us have on one screen right now and are slightly distracted by. So, was that a sigh from Janko?
Yeah, man, I just saw.
I'm honestly getting banged out by Jimmy.
Banged out by Jimmy, Mr. Shot.
Jimmy's fucking owning, man.
Nice. Now
Jimmy's great.
Cool.
I fucking love a bit of Jimmy, man. Keep it up, little Jimmy. I've been. Yeah. Hit me, Jason.
I was going to change the topic. Is that cool with all y'all?
Yeah. Where do you want to go?
Dude, I want to talk about, speaking of G2, Homeboy Tazz.
G2. Oh, okay.
Homeboy Tazz is back in action. He's slotted in as the coach. He's come out of semi-streamer retirement to pick up the mantle. He's watching Neo do it. He's getting jealous. He's watching Cuban do it. He's getting jealous.
He ramped up his tweets.
Yep. Now he's found a home. I'll tell you what, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this, any move that puts Tazz on a G2 content creating hub is going to be positive in some regard. I think it's going to be fucking amazing seeing Tazz have to make content with G2 for like the next year.
Wait, so you're excited about Tazz joining G2 as the coach for content?
I mean, yeah, aren't you? You can be excited about other stuff too. I'm just saying. I'm saying aside of the other stuff, I think having Tazz as a personality back in the scene is going to be so fucking nice. It's going to be so funny.
All right, so let me just take that soul idea and just put that aside. Like I'll run with that. And all the other
let's
stuff.
Let's talk about the game. Yeah.
No, sure. That's fine. We can talk about that. No, I know what you're saying. I get, but I think you can make links to what of that can make him a good personality for a team like this, or hopefully so. Because I think that's one of the keys, right? With when you look at G2, Swanee's not the type of guy who I think garnered a lot of respect in terms of like his stature, right? Like he wasn't like a dad who was going to rip off the belt and give you a fucking hiding if you were being naughty, right? He's going to give you a little bit of information. He's going to be there. Maybe he cracks a couple of jokes, but he was more, I would say, like a friend in the team from the outside looking in. Than someone that was like I get the last say, or we're not my way or the highway. We're not talking about fucking like prison rules or anything here, but I think just Tazz with his stature as an individual, and also the winning culture that a player like him who has won a major before should bring to it. And there was some other stuff that I think goes a little bit overlooked here as well, because again, I like to read the dirt sheets. I like to see what some of the opinions are out there. And there was this one thread that I was reading, and I brought it up right now. I actually save a couple of these on my phone, so when we talk about these things, I have them handy. But the thread was just called G2 Tazz, and it says, obviously I respect Tazz for what he has done as a player, but is it really a good idea to have someone who has little to no coaching experience brought into coach a team that should be a top 3 team in the world? And like I think about that, and my brain just starts racing. I think, okay, so coaching is still something, even though we have a lot of coaches out there, and coaching's existed in Counter-Strike for a decent period of time now, it's still something we're still working out how to do the most effectively. And different coaches suit different teams, like different personality types or different things. How strong is your in-game leader? Maybe you don't need an analytical type coach. Maybe you need more of a personality type coach. You need someone who's going to bring the people together, make sure, because this is the thing, like the interpersonal relationships in a Counter-Strike team is so hugely important to how you're going to function on a day-to-day basis when you're playing the game. If you fucking hate all your teammates, you can be as professional as you want. I don't think you're going to get the best out of yourself, right? So somebody like Tazz coming into the mix here, he has the experience. He knows what the winning culture is all about. He also played with players that he was begrudgingly playing with at times, and they were still performing at a decently high level. So also knows, what that's about. Or he
was begrudgingly a member of some of those teams himself.
Yeah, that's true too. So you have those factors. Then you had the little arc that he was on with Aristocracy, right? Honoris, those type of teams where he was a bit more of a mentor figure to some of the up-and-comers coming through the Polish scene. So already has a decent amount, at least in recent history, being more of a mentor and a helper. And we know Tazz, he's always been quite like a happy-go-lucky kind of, nice guy. But also, when he's playing, he's a competitor, like through and through. Like he wears that on his sleeve. He'll get a little bit louder, he'll fucking G up the troops. He's not I wouldn't say he's as timid as a Neo, right? But he played alongside a Neo for a very long time. So he also knows what it's like to have to deal with and respect some of the absolute best Counter-Strike. We're talking about Tazz, who played with Neo, who is in the argument for the best 1.6 Counter-Strike player of all time. Right, like he knows, and then
I'd say it's probably 50-50. Yeah, like depending on who you pick.
Exactly. Yeah. So this guy who's 37 years of age now, he has more experience than you're going to struggle to find a player with as much experience as somebody like Tazz. But I still think this is a difficult challenge coming into an organization like G2 that has the expectation of winning, right? And as your coaching debut and going into a team with some big personalities, I don't think it's going to be an easy task by any means, but I'm interested to see how he handles it. That's going to be the fun part is what type of impact can Tazz actually have, because I can't tell you one way or another, but do I think he has the credentials to do a good job? Yes, right? Obviously a bit more coaching experience would be great, but I think he's the type of man that, the likes of NiKo and Hunter and Co, they're going to respect him as an individual and what he's done. So I just don't know what that's going to look like at the end of the day.
I think also when you talk about like coaches and different, I think look at this G2 mouse game, right? I mean, the two teams, like these two teams need two different coaches, right? Because on the side of mouse, you have a lot of young players who lack experience, right? Who are a tight-knit group and have found some success lately, but for them you also need to be teaching them some things. You need to guide them through some of those big moments, right? They're going to be experiencing some things for the first time, being like a favorite, being on top, and then sort of having a slump, and how do you deal with all that? On the other side of G2, you have a lot of experienced guys, right? Older guys who already had a lot of success and been through these ups and downs, right? And someone like Hooksy as well, who has a distinct way of how he wants to play. Sorry. Fuck's sake. How he wants his team to play the game and all of that stuff. And what you need to do with that is really, how do you get the most out of these players? How you get them to peak at the right time? How to get them to the stage? Because that's where they're going to be better relative to most of the other teams that are going to be on that stage as well. So I think I said I like Taz in a way because of the things that you've mentioned as well, Chad. Like, he is experienced, he's been part of those winning teams, and he's dealt with bullshit too on those teams. But I think also something that he hasn't been a part of is really like a high level org as G2 is at this time. Hasn't really dealt with, at least I don't think so, with having a mental coach, like having a manager, a general manager, like all these other pieces that are part of the team and the organization that you need to, you're just a part of all that.
You're
really.
a cog in the machine.
Exactly, right? And you have your own responsibilities and all of that stuff. And that's why I think like he is a guy who's vocal, right? From some of the stuff that he has been talking about on Twitter, you do get a sense of that he understands like what a team like G2 would need. Like, but it's one thing to know and like to say, okay, like you need to, you don't want to see them with their heads down and all of that stuff. But how do you get them to buy into it, right? Do you have a plan? Like, do you know how you're going to do that? Those things that you're talking about, like that's what we can't really know because he doesn't have any experience from that side, at least in a coaching role, right? Like if as an in-game leader he was already doing something similar before, then that's great. And I think absolutely he'll have respect coming in, but also, that's something that you keep earning every day. If you get what I mean, right? If he comes in and let's say it's a little bit lackadaisical and he's saying some of these things, but maybe not like reiterating them all the time or being on top of shit like 100% of the time, the players notice your bullshit like immediately, right? And if you're not keeping your eyes on the ball and you're letting shit slide and your focus drops and all this stuff, like they will notice. No matter, you can say shit all day long, right? It's about how you get things done, right? So I'm obviously hopeful that it's going to work out. I think it's a gamble from G2, right? Like it can pay off. It can end up being a brilliant move, right? He can fit it like a glove for the team, but it can also be one of those things where, well, we thought this was a great idea, but actually, it's not as easy as it looks from the outside. And maybe you should have tried to get someone with more experience.
Well, I think we already had questions around G2 anyway, right? Like obviously with this nexa move, I remember talking to you guys last week about it, and your sentiment, Janko, was like, well, what's going on here, right? Like with that in mind as well, like obviously they needed a coach because Swanee was on the way out. I don't know. It's going to be. We're in a position in Counter-Strike. I'm looking at the landscape more as a whole right now. Whereas a lot of teams aren't set, but there's clearly front runners who are making good moves or still looking like strong teams. The Vitality and Faze are the two teams that come to mind right now. Obviously, I think Mouse could be in that conversation. It depends on who they end up getting as a fifth. Maybe Brolin is a good fit for this team, and they want to stick with him. Who knows? But outside of that, it's like G2 have enough skill on the team that if they are having that any given Sunday performance, they can win a trophy. Like I think that's still possible. And look, seeing nexa acclimatize a little bit more. This is something where I'm not going to put too much stock in the online results, regardless of how some of the maps were blowouts. Like, I said Overpass, they were trying to bring it into the map pool. That's something they haven't done in a while, and it's online, and it's online against absolute online warriors. I'm not calling them onliners. I'm just talking about teams who play online literally every fucking day of their entire existence. It's where they do their best work. Whereas the G2 guys, it's hard for them to get out of bed if it's not a fucking Katowice semi-final or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know where we're at overall in the scene, and this is why I want to come through with the major and see just how much the boat gets rocked with the closed qualifiers, the RMRs. Like, you look at some of these names, like look at like Precy, for example, right? The Danish team that Roy just rejoined alongside of like NiKo and stuff. They've been having some pretty decent results, and they're the type of team that could go into one of these events. They got Refresh in the mix there as well. TMB, who for a while there was considered meant to be a pretty good thing coming out of Denmark, and then Altex, who's been through some of the academy teams over there. This is the type of squad that, you know, could come through and upset some bigger names and have a pretty good run at a major. And then how many other names are in the mix like that once we're in this? Like, I think 3D Max, the French blokes, right? With Hadji and Janko and those type of guys. They're another name that could be a bit of a fun conversation to be had too. So, I mean,
the European RMR is going to be a bloodbath again. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, the closed qualifiers first, and then the RMR itself too.
That's the thing with the closed qualifier all being online as well.
I just wanted to end like for this G2. It's like you look at this G2 lineup. Like, what are the main, like, sort of from an analysis point of view, like threats for the lineup that they need to tackle, right? Some of it is like for HLTV not to get emo and get like too in his own head about shit, right? Can Taz help with that? I think so. Another one is sort of just help getting m0NESY to keep evolving, and you know the kid works a lot, but from a sort of mentorship standpoint, I think he can help with that too. And then one of the issues that they tackled was like getting nexa, sort of someone who's gonna, I don't know, like sacrifice himself more like for the team and do what's like necessary or whatever. So I think like some of the key things that have been issues for G2 that he can help them with that. But at the end of the day, it's the players who have the most impact on what happens. So they need to get their shit together in that sense. He's there to help them do that, to facilitate that and all of that stuff. But you know, this G2 and that's where you come in from more of a atmosphere, environment point of things, where, you know, is that really a thing? Can they all really buy into that? Do they all really believe that these 5 guys can win the major, right? So
what about simple to G2?
I can't sell it. I can't sell it. I'm trying. Like honestly, I have no. Like words are coming out of my mouth, and I don't see how you could really believe that, right? Like, but listen, who knows? You would think that before World Finals started last year. Then they go on, they win that shit. They go to Blast, they go to Katowice, they fucking destroy everyone. And all of a sudden you're like, shit, this is the best team in the world. And then they turn to shit again in true G2 fashion.
Well, I remember I was reading that interview with NiKo yesterday, I think, and it just anytime someone says this in interviews, it always like makes me like wince a little bit, because it's just like when you talk about like a new player coming in and you talk about one of his positives being the fact that he's willing to sacrifice himself for the team. I'm just like, oh god, that can't be the positive that we're leaning into in this interview. That can't be the angle that we're taking. You know, like I do
want to know from that interview what space JKS was taking up on the T side. I'd love to get like a breakdown map by map.
He spoke about having too many star roles in the team, and Justin's going to go on and be like a good star player for another team. And I'm like, Justin doesn't play any star player positions. Like he's not that player. Like he wasn't that player. I don't know. It was a little confusing.
Another thing that was confusing to me was like when he talked about having voices on the team and like needing an extra voice. Well, I mean, you have HLTV and you have yourself.
And Hunter, I imagine, would be a voice.
To some extent, at least. And then you have m0NESY, who they want to have a little bit of a bigger voice as an opera and like take more initiatives. Like, bro, you need a guy who's gonna fucking shut the fuck up and do what he's told. Kinda, right? Who's not gonna be a voice, who's just gonna be quiet.
And I mean, Chad trained that into Justin from day one.
It's obedient bitch.
Just shoot them in the head.
Just a little dog on the map. You can just move into whatever corner you want him in.
I do love though when this interview with NiKo came out, it's like SPUNJ is in shambles. I'm like, what? What? I didn't say anything about NiKo. I didn't say anything. I just said that I didn't like the fact that the org didn't talk to Justin. And NiKo's interview actually makes it look worse for the org, really, because it's like, yeah, he was never staying. So I was like, well, so they knew for longer that he wasn't going to be on the team. It's like, oh, okay. All right, fair enough. Cool, I guess, whatever. But I don't whatever, man. The more I say, I don't want to keep making things worse for anyone. So I'll just keep my fucking mouth shut there now about it. It's too fucking much. It's too fucking much.
I like how people are calling it like NiKo's hit piece or whatever. Like his what's the other term? Like press something. I don't know. As if like this was published by HLTV to make him look good.
It's like, what's like a puff?
Why would they? Yeah. Like, why would HLTV be doing that ever? Just a fucking interview, bro. Like,
oh my god!
They asked him some questions and he answered
facts. Those are NiKo's facts. They're not the real facts. It's like, okay, man.
As well, truth's a matter of perspective, right? Where you're standing, and all those fun things. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I just think that G2 as a whole, it's been a bit of a hit and miss project for a very long time, and it doesn't feel like that's going to change anytime soon. So
no,
it'd be fun to see what they're able to bring to the table, because again, we could just continue to talk about the skill until the cows come home. But I want to see a change in the status quo, and I don't mean that to do with G2 necessarily. I mean overall, I liked what Complexity were bringing to the table, and I hope that they don't slowly like grind to a halt now that more teams are getting a bit more of a grasp on CS2, for example. They're going to be playing in this Atlanta event, right? DreamHack. I keep calling them Dream. Do you guys keep doing that? I keep thinking they're fucking DreamHack Opens. ESL Challenger.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's just essentially just weird. A DreamHack Open. Like that's the whole thing.
Well, because there is a DreamHack there. There is a DreamHack there. It's like Dallas. There's like a DreamHack.
But the production staff are fucking DreamHack staff, right? Like you see this stuff, it's just like it essentially is. It's just a name change. It doesn't make anything easier. Anyway, but that event actually looks like it's got some like decent names.
Is this a must-win event for Complexity?
I don't know if it's must-win. VP and Monty are both there. Gamer Legion have a stand-in, right? Because Volt can't make it. Apex is there. They're not bad either.
Are the Mongols gonna be there at all?
Weren't they having visa issues?
Visa issues.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, so that could be a bit of a problem. And then whatever, M80 or whatever.
It's between Complexity, Monty, and VP.
That's what I feel.
Those are the three teams. Yeah.
Didn't Monty beat VP as well recently?
What?
I think VP beat Monty recently. Monty beat VP recently in Jönköping. They beat them in the semi-final. That's right. Yeah. Beat him in the semi-final 2-1.
Next will be the 3K.
And they won the event. Yeah, actually, this is actually a sneaky, pretty competitive event when you get to like the top four.
Wait, G2
Even
won the
Gamer
map?
Legion in there can be sneaky.
Yeah. When did that happen? I was fucking 10-10 a minute ago.
Hooksy's got 20 kills, dog. It's a new fucking age.
Oh my god, Hooksy getting it fucking done.
They're doing it for Swanee.
Oh, Jimmy called real bad, didn't he? Last time I checked, he was 18 kills. Fucking hell, come on, Jim. Come on, big Jim. Sorry, Jason, what were you saying?
Here we go, two-man desk now. This actually is a pretty cool looking event in terms of just for a light number of teams. Monty, VP, Apex, Complexity is a pretty sick top billing, you know?
Yeah, like it's not a bad event for something that we would normally consider like part of the tier 2 circuit, right? So I think that's not too shabby to close out the year with one of those type of events. Jason, is the Discord up yet?
Oh, the Discord. Yeah, I mean, it's up. I have a meeting with the person that Janko put in our chat the other day. I'm gonna shoot him a message a little bit later on this afternoon.
Someone's gonna run our Discord.
No. I just want him to take an eye at it, you know, like kind of go through all the settings, make sure I have all the roles and permissions. Because man, it's crazy. You got I created all these channels. I don't even know if we're gonna use all of them. You know, we got some cool things that we can do with them. We can change and we can mishmash around and change some channels if we need to. But then you got to set up, you know, different roles. I've got a moderator. I've got a bot role, which is
why'd you name the bot Stunner?
Because he's a fucking bot.
I thought that was just like Trey's coming in.
No. I just named our bot Stunna, and I figured we could do one of those things, where like if you ever see those like ones on Reddit, like the Gandalf bot, where like if you say his name, he like drops like a Gandalf quote from the movies. I figured we could get all the Stunna-isms that we've gathered over the year, like a breath or a fresh of breath air.
Okay, yeah.
And, if you mention the Stunna bot, it just spams that response right back at you.
Short end of the dick.
Yeah, exactly. Short end of the dick. Capture the flags. Yeah, and I think once this person checks out all the details and everything like that, it'll be good to go. I mean, it's kind of ready to go public. I just want to make sure I haven't like missed any crazy detail.
Yeah, and we need those automated things so people can't say the bad words to each other.
That's easy. That's even through Discord. I haven't set that up yet, but I think I can. I think they just have an auto mod built into Discord. But
what is my name on Discord right now? Is it not SPUNJ? Is it just S?
It's SPUNJ.
It is? Okay.
It's SPUNJ.
It is? Okay, good. All right, cool.
So
they
basically
some shit where you have like a display name and then
Discord strikes me as the kind of thing where like if you miss like a detail early on, it's like a pain in the ass to go back like a month from now or like 100 Discord people from now and like untangle everything from the get-go. So I want to get that foundation started. All I've done is watch a couple YouTube videos, read a couple guides. So I'm really just kind of going in blind here.
Well, you're the resident expert on it right now.
Like a blind man at an orgy. I'm really feeling it out.
Oh, wow. I was just thinking,
that's like a sad classic.
We put a link out there and then people would join and just talk about stuff. But you've really gone all in here. So look, I appreciate the effort. But,
well, I didn't know like where we wanted to, we'll obviously have like a channel for the episode discussion, talk counter, just general Counter-Strike conversation, AMAs for episodes we want to do that incorporate more like community questions, watch party, if we're sitting here and we're all watching G2 Mouse, why not hop in the chat and say, hey, and say, haha, look at fucking Hooksy fragging out, cool things like that.
Oh yeah, watch parties for like blast events that none of us three will do.
Where can we do watch parties? What?
That way, channel for it.
Oh, okay. Well, we're kind of doing a watch party right now. We're just not live. That's something we could do, right? Like if there is an event on, so we could, we could kind of.
Yeah, we could just actually stream the stream.
Could we stream the stream?
I don't know. Can you?
On Discord, is that allowed?
Well, I mean, we could probably get a restream. We could probably get co-stream rights easily enough.
Okay, you know the people to talk to, Jason.
I know all of them. Yeah,
I try not to talk to all the people these days.
But yeah, there's some cool shit in here, and I figure once we get people in and they start, in my experience, the internet is pretty vocal about the things that they want. So we'll learn as we go.
Okay, and
it's another journey for everyone to join us on.
When does the jock straps come into play?
We do still have to. Is that my department? Should I start? Well,
maybe not your department.
Make custom jock straps.
Depends. I guess where would we be able to get jock straps done on the cheap? I guess like an Alibaba type job. Let me go over there right now. See if Ali and the Barbars are getting us any fucking jock straps over there.
I think I've actually searched custom jock straps before.
Well, but that
unrelated to our request, just like in his own free time, Jason has been looking up some custom jock straps.
Oh, there's some here, different colors, custom logo, or $2.
Yeah, but these ones you can't add a logo, you can add text, but it's also $80. And that seems a bit excessive to make people pay $80 for a jock strap.
I mean, it is for your jock. So
for those of you tuning in as well, this is a relatively long-standing joke that we've had where when we wanted to start merch, we wanted our first item to be something a little unusual, a little out there. And we decided on talking counter jock straps. So at some point...
Yeah, look, if you haven't heard that and you need to go back to episode 1 and start listening from episode 1 up to episode 73 of the current episode. And that's how you become a true talking counter fan. Otherwise, what are you doing here? I've also been paying attention a bit more when I head over to Anchor to check out like some of the comments and stuff, and I published them on the last episode over towards Spotify. Like some of the things that people are saying. So reading through that, if people want to use, I'm not logged in right now, but if people want to use when they do listen to our episodes and stuff, there is even a place that people can submit audio questions. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. I think so. Let me just see if I can bring it up on my cellular telephone device because I'm not having the easiest of times doing it on the computer right now. But I'm pretty sure there's a position where they can do that. So there's like interact. We can add polls. So yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a place that you can submit like audio questions, and then we could probably play them. Because I wanted to do a couple of things. I have to investigate that a little bit more myself. But once we get that going, could have a bit of fun with it. Have some sound bites coming through.
We could also do it on the Discord. I can enable voice messages in the Ask Me Anything channel, and they can just voice message.
Well, that would be nice.
Leave them there, and then I can just download them.
I messaged Harry Russell about doing us a jingle to start each episode, and I said that I'd pay him because I like some of his musical musings, and then he never got back to me. So I know that Hugo might listen to this podcast, but I don't think Harry will. But
I think Harry's seemingly been pretty AFK this December. I haven't seen him around fragging or anything.
Yeah, he's kind of fallen off the face of the planet. We miss you, Harry. I'm gonna have to start putting on some milk carton somewhere. Where is Harry Russell? He's kind of disappeared.
Are you excited to get back, Chad, and at least for Counter-Strike purposes?
For Counter-Strike purposes, yes. For every other purpose, no. Going from 29 degrees every day, beautiful sunshine, to fucking cold weather. Like, what is there to be excited about? Fucking bullshit cold winter in Europe versus god tier Australia where I can walk to the beach 500 meters away. Like, man. But I am flying on Sunday, so I will be back on Europe on Monday. So the next episode I do will be on the same time zone as Janko. So we won't have to worry about this fuckery so much anymore, which is, my apologies to everybody playing at home.
No, this is fucking great for me. It's 2 p.m.
Yeah, Jason loves getting
when we
up
started. So
no, it's great. I'm up that hour anyways. It's you're not changing my day at all.
All right, well, we'll just keep it around this time of recording then. I'm trying to think. There's not a whole lot of stuff like going. Oh, there was another thread that I Rush unboxed something. Rush just unboxed something. Hold up, things are going wild right now. And he's unboxed a knife. It's a rust coat fucking karamba. Okay, that's not that exciting. There was another Reddit thread. There was another HLTV thread that I thought that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention. Now, the headline reads, Twistzz equals 2018 Kyobi, Frozen equals 2018 Magisk. And the thread goes on to say Twistzz plus Kyobi, both major winners on top on one of the best teams, both seen as very good players on their respective teams, both left their teams because they wanted to prove themselves, Frozen plus Magisk. Both came from a lower ranked team to fill the spot left by Twistzz/Kyobi on a top team. Both are exceptionally good riflers, and soon both will have started an era on their respective teams that they joined. How do you guys feel about this sentiment by CSGO is bad 5?
I'm not sure I followed it 100%.
Didn't Twistzz leave Liquid for Faze for that reason? Wasn't that like why he was in Faze to begin with? Kinda, no. Like that, I want to prove that I can like be this or whatever.
I'm not sure.
There were a lot of factors that went into it, but one of them was he felt like he wasn't getting the respect from the Liquid team at the time to allow him to play the spots and the style that he kind of wanted to play. So I think a lot of it did. I mean, there was certainly an element of wanting to get out and prove himself on a team that would give him the freedom to do it.
And I think though the whole Twistzz going to Liquid thing, like reading that 2-part interview from HLTV and all of that stuff, like to be honest, the vibe I get is if fucking FaZe were on top of shit and just offered him a new contract on time, he would have never left.
Yep.
I mean, he wouldn't have gone to the other. It was only because of that and like, them not being on top of things and him starting to sort of question what the hell is going on, that opened up a window for other teams to approach him and for him to even get into conversations with other teams. And then I think towards the end, I don't want to say he was regretting it, but once you see how it turns out,
the winning ways,
with the release of the new game and how they started winning, it's like,
yeah, but that can be such a trap too, because they might. I mean, you never know if they started like kind of winning because he goes, all right, guys, I'm out. I'm leaving in 2 months. Like we have these next 3 events, and that takes so much pressure off the team. And then you get back to playing Counter-Strike. And maybe if he doesn't make that announcement, they don't feel like the environment's gotten a bit more relaxed. Maybe it's still tense and maybe it's still stressed as you're trying to fix some of the problems. That can actually be a trap that you fall into, thinking that it always would have gone on that they always would have gone on the CS2 win streak.
No, I'm not. I don't think that, but it's just like, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to.
I agree with you 100% though. Like I do think there's reading that interview was just like, wow, if Faze had just been on top of their game and organized and had the discussion with them sooner. Like he references it a number of times where he's just like, yeah, like I had to, we were negotiating with like a month or 2 weeks left in the contract, and that was like crazy. And there's like a lot of shit to go over.
I think he also is kind of like, why did I leave? You know, like why has all this kind of happened? Like why is this? You know, I think he's a little bit.
Oh, there's Taz on the screen.
It should. I feel like I get what you're saying, Janko. Like it felt like it didn't need to happen, right? Like there should have just been a couple of things that were just squared away. It all could have been fine. Everything could have been great. Could have continued on with this roster. They were all talking about they didn't have a lot of motivation, right? Like towards the earlier parts of the year, and then when CS2 came out, that kind of kicked them back into gear, and then we saw the results with that. So from a lot of factors. I think it would have been interesting to see that in the what ifs, but I also am really, really excited about the Liquid project. I think that it's an interesting amalgamation of personalities and players. I want to see how it fits. I want to see if it can be successful. But then I say all that, and then the last team I got excited about was Cloud9, and well, we all know how that went. Like it's like, so maybe I shouldn't be excited. Maybe I should be a little bit more like, oh, no, yeah, man,
get excited. Cool. Get excited, Chad. Open up your let the emotions go. I'm excited for it. I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, but they're your team.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited outside of the fact that this is my team. You know, there's like that has a lot of really cool players on it, really exciting players. You get Cadian's energy involved in that action. I think this team can fuck. For sure.
Fuck. Yeah, look, I don't. That's why I'm excited and especially when the status quo of Counter-Strike, I think, is up for debate right now. Like what I said before, you have Vitality and you have FaZe, and I think everybody else is still trying to like chip their hat into the ring here to see like who's going to really be the next teams up for contention. I think MOUZ aren't too far off. I think if Complexity can have a strong end to the year, I want to see what G2 can do. I think beating MOUZ with a stand-in is still a pretty good, kind of way to start this event for them right now. So we'll see if they can get map 2.
Dude, I was thinking, like, what? I thought I lost my mind. I'm, like, looking at this fucking thing. Like, I'm looking at the veto in the lower third, and I'm like, G2 picks Ancient, MOUZ picks Vertigo. I'm like, okay, Punish Break. I'm like, wait a second. Didn't fucking G2, like, start playing Overpass? So I go to the HLTV page, and I see that G2 removed Mirage.
No.
They removed Mirage. Not Vertigo.
Yeah, okay.
Mirage.
Yeah, right. That is.
So if there's one thing that fucking Taz is going to do, hopefully beat some fucking sense into Huxin, stop playing Vertigo. Just stop. Please. Just stop playing it. You're going to play Vertigo over Mirage. With NiKo, Hunter, and Monacy. That's what you're going to do.
Oh, seriously? Maybe they've been practicing it.
Fuck off, Jay. You're not going to fuck
This could go really well for them.
I see what you're doing.
What if they win this map right now, Janko? What does that say?
Oh, yeah, that says I'm an idiot and they're geniuses. or maybe what happens is what happened at the Paris major.
Uh-oh.
Against Fnatic.
At least it's not an elimination map. If they lose, there's still a third map coming.
That's true.
Yeah. Great fucking attitude, Jason. So positive.
And at least the third map's not Overpass.
They'll also get a participation award, even if they lose this game and the next game. They'll get a star.
Oh dear. What do they get if they come last? Let's have a look. Let's see what the prize money split here is. What
it's
is
going to be something stupid, isn't it?
Where's the fucking prize pool split? Why is it not here? Am I reading this thing wrong? I don't think it has it. Well, none of the teams have been eliminated yet. Yeah, okay. Well, whatever. I think I might have to go to Wikipedia to find that one. I can't see it on HLTV right now. You can see just how excited. You're coming to present an award, Janko, mate. You said it's going to be Raban Coach of the Year. Yeah, how did you get roped into that? Why'd you agree to do it with Kassad? You didn't want your own like little moment in the sun?
I don't know. I didn't want to fucking hurt his feelings. It's like that's the only way he would get to do something, right? You'd have to like lob him in with me.
Are you guys going to do any of your little brotherly banter that some people on the internet think the two of you are at each other's throats, and some people on the internet understand that you two have been friends for a very long time?
Well, I want to do something. The problem is like I can't really surprise him because he'll just fucking stand there like an idiot. So I have to let him know what I plan so he can react to it in a way that's not going to be cringe as fuck.
You got to make one of those like silly, like blatantly scripted jokes, or they do it like the Academy Awards when it's just like the actor and the actresses that have like obviously never met, and they just go up and tell like a little 1-2 punch. That's what I want to see.
You want to see? Do you want canned laughter with that as well, Jason?
I do. That would be great. I don't know if production has the capabilities of doing that, but I would love it.
Look, we'll see what we can do. I know a couple people, so I'll see what's going on. I need to buy. Well, I don't need to buy. Obviously it's an award show. I just think I want an all black.
You gonna
suit.
go for a tux?
No, I don't think so. I think I just want like a black shirt, black suit, just all like it's a funeral. I don't know why.
Nice,
but yeah, I feel.
I know why. It's because you're a broken shell of a human being.
I'm pretty happy at the moment. Life's going pretty good, you know.
Not come Sunday.
Yeah, wait till you come to Serbia.
Fucking hell. The frigid conditions.
This place just has a way of sucking the life out of you.
Oh no! Come on,
It doesn't. It's actually pretty cool.
There should be direct flights from Malta to Serbia. It should be pretty straightforward, I think. Yeah, so that should be
a lot of Serbians in Malta.
Yeah, I meet a couple every now and again.
It's also nice times. It's like in the afternoon. You know, your flight's like at 3 p.m.
I feel like every time I've gone out with dinner in Malta with Janko when we're there for Pro League, like there's just like a Serbian waitstaff who like talks to Janko for 5 minutes and then brings us around like rakia to the table.
Rakia.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm mumbling.
Oh
but
shit!
We literally like every time we've gotten some rakia.
I just
noticed we have to find time, Chad, for me to take you to the proper place for food.
Well, I've never been to Serbia before.
There's a really good place next to the boot camp, so you can come check it out if you want.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I get there like 2 days early or something like that. I think I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure I do. Hugo left TeamSpeak approximately 15 minutes ago. I'm trying to find his profile right now to see if him and Rush lost their game. Because if they were playing a FACEIT game, and
what are the odds? I'd say 85% plus.
Yeah, if you lose, you're probably getting out of here immediately. But if you win, you might stick around to at least talk. But Rush did open a knife. I think I just mentioned that before. So, you know, things are getting really exciting out here.
Must be fucking nice. Did you see Flom open the double knife the other day?
The double knife? Knives? Is that like a double rainbow?
Yeah, back-to-back cases, knives in each one.
That's really?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty fucking wild. I opened a butterfly.
You responded on the tweet, actually, Chad, I think.
I think I responded on the first one. Wait, did he do it? Maybe I didn't.
He said account unlocked. Yeah, you probably didn't watch the video.
I was just having some of that sweet interaction. I got a little bit of it. I was in Flom's stream today. He was watching some North American Counter-Strike. Oh, we've lost Janko.
Yeah, I was watching that last night as well. He's doing the Mythic Cup is going on right now.
Okay.
That online event.
So that's what he was doing. Yeah. Fair enough.
I watched the Nouns versus NRG game.
Oh, that's the one I was watching. Yeah, and Ancient, they were getting absolutely fisted.
NRG going about as good as you would have expected. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's yeah. Well, I don't know. What is it? Is it that weak? I guess it is. I feel bad for OC. I think he deserves a better team, but I don't know where he could go really. Unless he was to go to complexity. And I mentioned that on I think the first Talking Counter episode we did back, and I think people took exception with that. They like Halzerk, which is fine. Halzerk could stay.
But I mean, if there was ever going to be a roster change on the team, that's the one that makes the most sense. Just straight up.
Yeah, and I think OC was growing a bit towards the last couple of months or maybe the last 6 months or whatever within Liquid. So, and when we had OC kind of break onto our screens when he was with the Floppies and JTs of the world, he was actually very explosive and he was doing an awful lot of work for that roster. So, it's a bit of a shame that he didn't get to stick the landing with that Liquid team, but these things happen, and now we have a brand new Liquid that we won't get to see play until early next year. Which is when I was talking with the blokes last night, they have to play probably have to play in the open qualifiers and stuff for the Americas RMRs, which I don't think should cause them too many issues. It just means their year starts like really quickly, right? Because I think that kicks off on like the 8th of fucking January. So Casper was saying, or maybe it was Yakinda was saying, I think they're back like on the 3rd. Yeah, they're back on like the 3rd or something like that of January. So pretty much straight after New Year's and just getting on with the grind, which this is what has to happen, right? Like if you're going to be in a new team and you roster like this and it's going to be the biggest event of the year, I guess you just got to go, head down, bum up and just get fucking going with it. So it is what it is. And
head down, bum up.
Yeah, is that not a? Is that?
No, you don't say that anywhere other than what I just heard now. But it's great.
It's a figuratively body position adopted when working hard at some task, either physical or mental. Head down, bum up, definition and meaning.
Yeah.
Your dictionary. Don't fucking make me seem like I'm talking like head down, ass up. That's the way we like to fuck, Jason. Come on now,
I'm
man.
I'm just thinking in my head, you got to be head down, bum up, ready to get fucked in an online qualifier. That's where my brain went, but you know.
Okay.
I think maybe it's an Australianism, or maybe it's like British because we have a lot of those. I feel like
share
it's an
those.
Australianism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it either way. I know exactly what you're getting at. But
yeah, now I just feel like
it's just funny to hear for the first time.
Yeah, sorry everybody. I hope that wasn't as jarring to everybody at home as it was to Jason. It was.
Fuck them. They're offended. It's their problem.
While we're on the note of things down under, Dexter joined Grayhound pretty quickly, didn't he?
Has that already been announced?
Yeah,
I saw. All right. Cool.
Sicko left, or Sicko departed.
I saw
think
that.
They had it as leaving, but yeah, after 5 years. So the thing is, like, I was trying to build the Oz super team, but now that Dexter's joined Grayhound, he's almost made it impossible for me. So I guess
just get more guys to Grayhound.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just so we have it on the record, what would the Australian super team be?
So it would 100% be ENCE, Vexite, JKS, and Dexter, and then I would want to get an import AWPer. I'd want to get a European AWPer. I think that's where Australia's been lacking forever, or Oceania's.
So it's basically the core of Grayhound plus JKS plus an AWPer.
Yeah, and that would be the go-to. And then obviously, let's say you couldn't, then you'd have Alistair, right? You'd have Alistair as your AWPer in the team.
So now we're working with 4 Grayhound players and JKS for Liaz.
Yeah, but when
so Grayhound's basically there.
Yeah,
it's about as close as you can get.
Yeah, I think for them, like I think having Dexter added into the mix is going to be good. He's going to be able to teach them a lot of things in a short amount of time. But if they're not willing to be able to spend more time overseas, and maybe willing is the wrong word, or maybe they're not able to spend more time overseas, it's going to be the same problem that they always have. Yeah. So it's not something that I'm excited in the short term, because I think Dexter can kind of really help them get up to speed with a lot of things. And Dexter used to farm like in Australia. He was just fucking farming as the in-game leader. So it's great to see him reuniting with those bunch of guys. But yeah, I don't know. There needs to be like hopefully with CS2 like a new surge of players who maybe are a bit more focused. Like this Nedic kid's been farming. He's from New Zealand. He plays for Rooster. We've had him overseas for Pro League before. But in recent times, he's just been absolutely fucking farming. Like his stats are through the roof. But I just don't know if there's enough pieces to... And again, like the resources. But at the same time, everybody hates, our part of the world. So fuck it. Yeah, sorry that we live so far away from everywhere, I guess.
I think this will be impactful enough that they do something.
Okay.
Like beat
What's
a team
something?
in a best of 3.
Beat a team in a best of 3, like a notable team.
Like all these close games that they've been losing at different tournaments, right? Or going out dead last. I think Dexter is enough for at least that.
One of those to turn in their favor.
Yes.
I hope so.
For starters, that and a coach, which they also got.
They have a coach. Yeah.
And then we'll see. With how it goes with that. You're absolutely right. He's going to help them a lot with updating their game and all of that stuff. And it will depend on how long will they be able to be in Europe, to practice and work things out before they have to play some officials. So if that time is 2 weeks, I think that's fine. 10 plus days, I think 2 weeks plus for them, I guess, because there's literally nothing they can do in Oceania. So they're playing some tournament now or soon. No, somewhere. Someone posted that. I
think I saw something about this, but I didn't really follow up with it. So you could be bang on. What would they be playing in this? Is there something locally, or is there something in Asia going on? I know there's like a Guam server tournament going on there for a little while.
Guam.
Yeah, there's apparently like that's like the best server for, I don't know. Blair was tweeting about it the other day. But I'm looking
best
right
server
now.
for like the Oceanic Asian region.
I wouldn't take anything Blair says right now. I take everything with a grain of salt. The man is still under shock for the assault live on broadcast that he had to endure. Jesus fucking Christ.
That was awesome.
Jesus almighty.
He did say some outrageous
The best part
things,
is all the people who think like we're saying like, oh, this has to be a bit. It's like, bro, that's not a bit. That's just a person losing their mind live on broadcast and shelling it all out on a colleague.
Yeah, Blood did.
I thought it was a bit.
Frontal.
I'm not gonna lie.
You thought it was a bit?
The first time I saw it, yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Wouldn't you?
I
want to
mean,
say
no way.
something
not that it-
outrageous
not
to
that
make
it
a bit
was-
believable?
Not that it was
could tell
well
she's just
acted.
losing her mind. Like
I
live
just
on
couldn't
stream.
believe that would happen. That's
Which
why
is
I thought it was a bit. I was like, "There's no way this actually occurred."
Everyone has a meltdown. Usually, just not live on stream. Usually, it's in the green room, right?
Yeah,
Or
and
it's,
usually
or
at
it's
majors.
directed at like, you know, a team that just played some shit CS. So you give them a little bit extra bit of sass, you know. But
Yeah, so everyone gets to have a little bit of fun with it. But when you
Yeah.
direct it at a colleague, then the fun disappears.
yeah, especially if because you're having to deal with this live
Leave
on air.
my dad. Leave this desk.
It's so
That's
fucking
she's slowly walking towards him, and Blair's like, "What the?
It's so funny.
We throwing hands now, or what's going? Am I gonna get bitch
It's
slapped?"
just so
or-
funny because she's 2 times as tall as he is.
Fucking asshole. Oh boy.
Oh, it was-
He even tried to change the subject, and I was like, "Whoa, show them some respect. Put
Oh
some
my
respect on their
God.
name getting banged out."
That's
in
the
3
kind of
games.
spice we're missing on it. Yanko, I need you to bring that back in 2024.
What? Just pick random fights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I'll just demean all my colleagues live on air.
please.
Swear all the time.
We need the
constantly
energy.
Cuss them out.
Oh my god.
Hey, how about you get the fuck off my
Exactly.
fucking desk?
We have to do
You
an experiment
mongrel.
and see how everyone would react to that situation. We need to do it once to Maniac when he's least expecting it, like maybe a Katowice quarterfinal or something. We need to do it.
Where's your Zaiwu now?
I wanted to do
Exactly.
that thing during Pro League where we trolled Dinko, right? Where we're about to go live with like a segment, and then we all just fucking disappeared. And production like, Dinko, everyone's gone missing. You have got to do it alone. And we just like, we're all obviously standing off of the wing somewhere, and poor Dinko goes live on air and has to just start doing a segment on his own, filling in between
not
fucking
bad.
games for like 30
That's not
minutes
bad.
or some shit.
Just throw him through the ringer.
Just a little bit of light hazing for everybody's entertainment. And poor little Dinko. Well, I'm
That's
sure he'd
almost
thrive,
as funny
mate.
as this Nexa and Hooksy B defense on Vertigo.
B's a hard bomb site on Vertigo.
It
It's
is.
not a fun bomb site by any stretch. I fucking hate it over there. You feel like you get
As-
naded, mollied, they explode on you. You fucking rotate as one guy from mid, and he's overcommitted.
That's
He's
the
not even
worst
there
when
with
they
a
explode
flash.
on
It's
you.
like, oh,
Yeah.
it's better if you have wet wipes or something, though, Janko. You know.
Yeah, or a flashlight or some lube, I guess. You fucking disgusting
Degenerates.
degenerates. You know what's interesting though? Like the winner of this game plays Faze.
Yeah,
So we might have Mouse versus Faze, Frozen versus his whole team.
that'd be
immediately.
nice to get that immediately.
Or another G2 Faze game. Those are always fun.
Yeah, I was talking about this last night. I think the final that I would like to see manifest from this event would be Vitality versus Faze. I think that would probably be the most exciting.
Rematch.
But obviously that was before I got to see like how G2 are going to look with Nexa on LAN, how Mal's going to look with Brolin as the stand-in, right? I don't think I'm going to expect anything for the likes of ENCE and Heroic, and that was backed up today with their performances. Cloud9 are a bit more of an anomaly in that regard, but I also don't put a lot of stock in the team without a primary AWPer, even if the AWP is maybe not as strong in CS2 as it was in CSGO. So yeah, there's a few factors there, but I think just Faze versus Vitality to close the year, all the excitement around Frozen joining, obviously Vitality are probably going to go down as team of the year. Zyro's in the server, so that's always a bit of fun, and we can't say that about Simple at the moment, so at least we can say it about the Woo. So at least we got that to get excited about.
He's streaming, isn't he?
Simple, yeah, he's playing some
Simple.
FPL.
Yeah, this
and
map's
stuff.
over.
Yeah, go third, go nuke. Oh,
Yanko was right.
I'm fucking tired, boys. I can't believe it. I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning to start doing a podcast at 3. I didn't even mean to wake up at 2, and I'm going to bed when the sun is still up. Like the sun doesn't set here until like 7 p.m. I'm in bed at 6 trying to get enough sleep.
I was watching a little bit of that when you guys were talking with Yakinder and Katie, and someone in chat was like, Chad looks angry today. And I was like, yeah, it's like fucking 3:30 in the morning over there.
Why don't they just fucking move it a little bit to help you out?
No, because it's the prime time slot, and I obviously wasn't meant to stay. And I'm trying to take a little bit more responsibility over there with organizing all the guests and the dates and the time. So I actually organized like a lot of things. So it would just be like a cunt move from me to like be like, hey guys, can we just do it a little bit like earlier in the day or something like that? So that was the last one.
Not if you're organizing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But it's just easier for a lot of the guests and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the last one I'll be doing at that ass crack end of the morning. So I'll be back in Europe as of Monday. So we'll go back to normal, regular scheduled programming. Whereas like if I was doing this a little bit more full time, like if I was living in Oz more, then maybe then I would ask for a little bit earlier in the day. But it was only a couple of episodes like that, so it's all good. And I don't know. I think I was just concentrating because sometimes, especially when you're trying to manage a conversation from more of like a host position, what we do here is we just have a discussion between the three of us. Whereas when I'm doing something and I have people on, and I don't think there's an expectation for me to ask certain questions, but I want to make sure that I'm asking questions that I would want to ask. So I feel like I have to pay like more attention. Which it's not that I'm not paying attention here. This is just more like I've spoken to you guys pretty much, nonstop for the last fucking 6 or 7 years. So it's one of these things, lads. But can I go to bed? Like, is that possible?
Yeah, dude.
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah. Long live DONK.
Long live DONK.
Long live DONK.
Yeah. Like, well, he got the MVP. We love a bit of DONK. He got 16-year-old. He got the MVP.
Chad, I was gonna end it there. I was gonna end it on long live DONK.
Oh, okay. Long live DONK.
That's it. Yeah.
Bye.